Hi, my name is Cole Baker, and I'm a senior at Decatur High School, and I'm admitted to Sewanee University of the South, class of 2024.
This was me 4 years ago, working on my application for Bonner. I'll spare you and myself from having to watch the entire thing, but I'm going to try and summarize a little bit from how I got from then to where I am now. As I mentioned, my name is Cole Baker, but my friends call me Tejo. I grew up in Decatur, Georgia, and I lived in the same house from birth until I was 18 years old. When the time came to apply to college, I ended up applying to a bunch of schools that I didn't know very well, a couple schools in Georgia near my house. I applied to Sewanee after my mom found it on a list of schools with no application fee, and after I found out they had no supplemental essays, and after a very brief Google search, I applied on a whim. In high school, my experience with community service was pretty much your garden variety type of community service. Growing up attending some MLK service days and being part of a couple service-oriented clubs in high school. But the only time I ever felt like the community service I was doing was actually worthwhile for myself and others was when I was completing my Eagle Scout project, building bat boxes at my local elementary school. The actual construction was fine, but being able to present my work at the weekly morning meeting and explain a little bit about the boxes was one of my most vivid memories from high school and solidified my career goal to become a teacher. So when I was stuck at home at the beginning of the pandemic and wondering how to pass the time, I applied to the Bonner program with a pitch about working in schools as part of my application. I vividly remember meeting Robin over Zoom and hearing about this program in South Pittsburgh called Man Up and being super intrigued about working in a school setting. After learning I got selected to be a Bonner, I decided to come to Sewanee despite not knowing anyone here or ever visiting. Arriving in Sewanee during the bubble, I had no idea what to expect since I had never been to campus before pulling up to pre. While I wasn't able to do anything related to education during my freshman year, I got to explore some other local sites on campus that I wouldn't have otherwise. Exploring campus with the famous Wyndham and meeting some members of the Sewanee community who weren't students, as well as getting to interact with some local produce, helped broaden my understanding of campus and learn more about the school past the frats in the classroom. Bonner also introduced me to a new social circle that I've seen grow so much and always enjoy catching up with in class and at BOGO. Some of these connections have also become my strongest friendships at Sewanee and will continue to be guiding forces in my life after I graduate. As my sophomore year started, I got to be part of restarting Man Up and Core at South Pittsburgh. Working with Ava and Ms. Hill to restart the program, we shifted the focus from a high school to middle school boys, opening a whole new can of worms and having to redesign the program completely to meet the needs of middle school students. Up to this point, being a teacher had only been a dream of mine. I took a digital education class that allowed me to do 5 whole hours of virtual tutoring. I was an assistant teacher at my old middle school, but with my placement at Man Up, it was me and the other Bonners, and we were the whole show. After a couple meetings that were intense exercises and improvisation, we realized that some of the activities that were planned for CORE, the middle school program for female students, did not elicit the same reception from our middle school boys. No shade to the Feelings Cube, though. After taking Man Up in a separate direction to better meet our Man Up students, I also took the capstone class for the education minor, which was taught by my site supervisor, Ms. Hill. I was able to student teach at South Pittsburgh Academy in Ms. Castle's classroom, gaining a stronger relationship with my site supervisor, getting a chance to see my students in class, getting a better understanding of the students as individuals, and having conversations with teachers at the school to see how we could improve our program. However, at the end of the year, the education department got cut, leaving Bonner's my sole connection to education and my career goals. Going into my summer internship at Berkeley Academy in Tampa, I was able to take these skills I'd learned from my time at Man Up, move to a new city and teach students from a community I wasn't from, kind of like my initial days at South Pitt. Using the skills that I developed, I was able to refine them over the summer and improve my classroom management and curriculum upon returning to South Pitt in the fall. Over the past 2 years, I've continued the cycle of using my teaching environments to improve my work at both, improving old ideas, changing the name to Pirates Embracing Empathy, Respect, and Service, and building new friendships with my other co-peer guys. We've built the program into one that I'm confident that the next site leader will be able to take over with much more ease than the cold start 3 years ago. Outside of peers, I've made sure to leverage my connections through Bonner to help introduce other people to the network that helped me get to know Sewanee and the greater South Cumberland Plateau community better. I was Delta Community Service Chair for a while and have continued to work with other sites. Even though it's not been as consistent as my work with peers, I've thoroughly enjoyed working at other sites and to continue to learn about this magical mountain, whether delivering groceries to my former forestry teacher who called me multiple times sleeping in class, bring people to Housing Sewanee when they have no idea about what they're about to walk into meeting Dixon. And this and the other experiences outside of my main site have been some of the most fun of my Bonner experience. Thinking back over my past 4 years, I'm in a kind of similar situation going into my next chapter. I recently found out that I was selected to receive a Fulbright scholarship to go teach English in Mexico. Going into another community that I'm not from to teach, I know I can use what Bonner's taught me to help me navigate this transition into a new place and new school. But I would have not been prepared to do this without all the support and friendships that have helped prove to myself that I can do this. So thank you to everyone who's been part of my journey in YSR.